everything is a lot of hard work today. Even though technology says it's going to make it, oh, all you do is press a button and it works. Not the first time, maybe the third time when you finally get it down, then it presses a button and it works. But if you haven't seen me around, because I'm an old guy, I've been doing this for about 40 years, and what I've been, especially my life, is doing is showing people alternative sources of money and help to do anything you want to do in life. And what you guys are into is higher education. Man, you know, that's a given. That's important. Probably the most important thing you're going to do is, you know, get continuing education. And that's why the money that's available for that. And when I talk about a lot of people out there selling scholarship stuff and whatever, and I'm going to take a little different bent on it. So stay with me if you're looking for numbers. We'll give phone numbers too and websites, you know, to get you going. Now, anything I give you right now, you know, it's really a start, man, because there's so many places, so many things to check out. So that's why, I mean, I would, right after the seminar, I would just start researching, you know, and get your student, you know, your parents there, man, they know how to use the internet better than anybody too. So they're the ones that do. And I'm going to give you places locally to do this. But first of all, I don't know if you've seen the data recently. Last month, there's an association of college business people, you know, the business side of colleges. They came out with a study. It's called the National Association of Colleges and University Business Officers. So this is the business side, you know, of the colleges. And their data shows that higher education colleges are given bigger discounts now than ever. That's right, ever. You know, the average tuition now, and you could go to their website again. It's called the National Association of Colleges and University Business Officers, and this is something maybe you want to take that data to a college when you go to apply, because it'll show you there that the average price that students who apply and going there for the first year are paying only 50% of the market value, now of the stated price, the sticker price. So they're only paying 50%, and that is going up. That used to be like 20, 30 or whatever. Now it's up to 50. And so that's what you have to know. I think that's the most important thing to know, is that you know that and the reason why that's happening more now, less people are applying to colleges. That's right. So there's other data now. If you go, it's a website called Inside Higher Ed. I follow that a bunch, and that's good. Hit Inside, if you're looking for that website, InsideHigherEd.com. They have a study, they came out that shows the number of people going to college is shrinking. You think it would go up? No, because of the babies and all this kind of stuff. We don't have enough there. So it's going down. And so that makes it a better bargain, because now you have a better way to deal with these people who tell you how much it costs. Well, they're losing the market, right? So that's the thing. They're giving out at least 50%. So that means you're just in the middle if you're giving out 50%. And here's another thing I think that to keep in mind, and maybe it's hard to think this way, but I'm always looking for a deal, and something that's a little not regular is when going to college, shoot low. I mean, it seems like in the zip code I live in a suburb of Washington, D.C., in Bethesda, Maryland, everybody wants to go to Harvard, kind of thing. Oh, I think I have good enough grades, to get into this school or whatever. I bet I can. I'll try my luck. Well, if you do get into Harvard, first of all, you're probably going to pay top dollar even if you don't have a lot of money. Maybe not if you have real little money, probably won't. But if you're middle-class people, you're going to have to pay top dollar because they don't really want you. You're not going to do anything for their numbers to look better or whatever. You're going to be somebody's going to bring down the average, right? Because you're just sneaking in. But there's other kinds. There are all different kinds of colleges. A, B, C, D. Well, and who cares if you don't go to the top 5 or 6? Who cares if you go to number 73 or 120 or who knows the difference? And if that's really important, then you figure it out for grad school. But if you go low, see, this is the thing about going low. They want you. You know, if your scores and application looks decent compared to everybody else there, well, then you make them look better, and they'll give you more money. That's what they use the money for, is to get people, you know, in their classes that make them look better in these people who rate colleges and universities and how they're doing. So it's counterintuitive, and maybe, you know, the parents, it may be tough to get your kids to think that way because they all want to go to some elite school or whatever. But man, the bargains, you know, are not there, you know, particularly if you're middle class or something like that. So that's important too. And also, you know, you bleed anywhere you're going. That's where you have to really bleed. The scholarship stuff out there, like I have a scholarship at a local community college here, and it's really for single moms to go to college. And I call it, I don't need my government money scholarship fund. You know? So this is, and you know what I give them there? My Social Security money. I don't need it. I don't know what the hell they give me Social Security money for. You know? I mean, what amazes me is that I'm trying to shame other old people who don't really know their money, need their money. To give a kid in a community college can go for like $1,500 or whatever. You know? And where I live in this zip code, that's like 3 lunches downtown Washington to a lot of these people. You know? And that's it. So I have the scholarship fund, but I got to beat on the university to make sure they give out all the money. I mean, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, they're all bureaucrats. You know, this is what it is. And see, that's who the money has to go to, is people going to that school. So what you want to do, even before you accept, I think, is you sit down, if you can get there in front of their financial aid people to see everything that they possibly have that you could fill out for and learn that. Just don't apply and worry about it later. You worry about it now, because that's their best hope of getting all the money. Now, so that's what you want to do. You want to realize your negotiating power. You want to realize that there's money sitting at the university that they probably aren't even giving away, so you want to beat on them. And what can I do after they accept it to get, okay, we'll worry about that later. Okay, yeah, save the questions. I think I'll answer them at the end, you know, when we do that. And Nancy will figure out which ones we maybe should do. So that's important. You know, all that stuff. And now, then the other thing you want to do is local, okay? Because there's so many databases out there, you know, on scholarships. If you Google scholarships right now, okay, you Google, I did that somewhere. Okay, yeah, here's the sheet. I went and Googled college grants, okay? People in college grants. Okay, here's what I got. 409 million websites. Okay, hear that? 409 million websites. Okay, well, how about college scholarships? Oh, well, that seems more manageable. It's only 328 million websites. See, and this is the problem, I think. You know, I've been studying information about 40 years now. I have an MBA in Management Information Systems. So, since the 70s, you know, I was a computer programmer back then, so data is really important to me. And Google, as good as it is, it's really causing problems for you getting information. Because what are you going to do with 400 million websites? You know, you're not going to live long enough. Your kids are not going to live long enough. Your grandkids are not going to live long enough to figure out where this stuff is. Now, see, the other thing about Google you have to be careful of is that Google is a place for them to make money, okay? So people selling you something are trying to find you on Google. This is why Google is like one of the 3rd or 4th largest companies in the world now, okay? Because they're selling real estate to people who want to find other people to sell them stuff, okay? See, and all the stuff that I think is really important to get, because it doesn't cost you money, you know, it is free, and it's given out by either a government organization or a nonprofit organization. So now these governments and nonprofit organizations are giving money away for college. They don't advertise on Google. They don't have money. They're giving away money. Could you imagine, you know, the Department of Education or somebody giving out a lot of money in the government and say, oh, I'm going to give away $5 million this year. Oh, and by the way, I need another $200 million to give away this or something. I mean, you can't get that money like that. You know, it'd be crazy. You as a taxpayer don't want to pay for that. You're giving away money and you have to advertise. So that's the problem. You'll never find it. You know, maybe, you know, if you go through, you know, at least 100 web pages, you know, of results from Google, you may run into something. Okay, so what do you do about that? Okay, here's one thing. And there's exceptions to anything. So when I'm dogmatic and saying things, sure, it doesn't work 100% of the time. But you, at least in the beginning, you have to have some rules because you'll never get anything done. Okay, one of the rules in searching for you know, grants or scholarships on the internet is only go to websites that are .gov, that's G-O-V, or .org. O-R-G. So those two websites are nonprofit and government offices. Anybody else you're going to, and that's not strictly 100, but probably 99, 44, 100% certain, is somebody who's after money from you. You want to find websites that give money from you, not take money from you. See? So everybody is out there trying to get you. They're either getting money from you or selling your name. So that's the other thing. Oh, here are the 10 best websites for women who are under 3 feet tall or something like that. You know? And they'll sucker you in that with clickbait because you're a short lady and say, oh, I could sneak down on the 3 feet or something like that. And you'll sign up and get it, and they're selling your name. Now, who gets your name probably? It's probably going to be one of these for-profit universities. They're the biggest buyers of names. Yeah, and on the internet are people going to college. Because if you're looking for college scholarships, that means you're going to college. Okay, now if somebody who's making a lot of money off of you, and this is the for-profit universities, I mean, I'm biased against them, but that's my own biasness. So I'm sure there's some nice ones out there, but every data I've seen, big studies done, you know, by the Congress and everybody, that they spend 90% of their money selling, not providing education, but selling you stuff. Also, 90% of their money comes from government. So what they do, say, the colleges and you know, nonprofit universities do the same thing. They get you to go to their college, and you get a loan to pay them, and whatever you get and what happens, you know, it doesn't matter in a way to them. They got the money already, and you have to pay it back. So that's the problem with higher education, in this country. So how do you get through to find the people, that are giving out money? Okay, and that is, .gov or .org. So that's the most important things to do. Okay, now you have people locally that will help you do this stuff, because your other best place to get college money, grants and stuff like that, like my scholarship that I have, for single moms going to school, I can't give it all away, So locally, I'm not going to give somebody in Florida, even though she is cute, and it's important. So how do you find that local stuff too? Okay, besides the college you're applying to, your local librarian. Everybody forgets about librarians. Younger people probably don't even know we have libraries. But these people are still terrific in the community. They don't charge a nickel. And they have services now. Most libraries, now libraries are different. You may be running into idiots or whatever. There's no guarantee how good they will be. But they have, like, book a librarian. Okay. So you get a time, you go in, and you check if your library has this, and say, hey, I'm looking for scholarships, primarily locally. See, most reference librarians will have a local list of scholarships. That's what I did for one of my kids. And he got $3,000 from this and $500 from over there and whatever. And most of that was local stuff, And so they want to give it to local people. And so it's not on the internet that people know and all this kind of stuff. So that's why, that's it. But finding it, see, that's it. You're not going to find it in Google. You can't put, Scranton, Pennsylvania scholarships. Oh, Maybe you can or something, but you'll never get out of that rabbit hole fast enough to do anything. So that's what's important to do. Also local is your state government. Every state government, I think, has the greatest source of money for stupid people, not stupid people, people who want to study certain things, all kinds of things. One of my sons got money from that because he was taking some technology stuff, and I forget, he got $3-4 grand or something like that. His money didn't have to pay back. See, we put a lot of government money in all this, so you have to find out what is in your state. And somebody mentioned earlier, well, do I have to be poor? No. Let me tell you about government money. A lot of people think you have to be poor with government money. Okay, the government gives out individually over $22,000 per household per year. That's how much money we give out. Okay, that's why there's so many lobbyists in this town trying to get a bigger share of that pie. But of all that money that's given out for education, all kinds of things, getting jobs or whatever, 12.5% has income requirements. So only 12.5% of all the free money that the government gives out has income requirements. Okay. Now, the other thing is important to know is that only 20% of all the free money that the government has, and you could use this for other things in college besides just paying tuitions, your daily living expenses and the like that, it is not even called grants. See, that's the problem. If you don't know the system, you're going to... So that's why when you're looking for it, you just need financial assistance. You don't want it scared. Because the government has things like, they'll call it direct payments, and they'll pay your stuff in college. But it's not called a scholarship. It's not called a grant. So the safest word to use is direct payments, okay? Don't get tied up in jargon you think. The problem is that we think we know what the answer is. Asking the right question. So if you're asking a question, are there any scholarships? I say no, but you forgot to ask about all the other stuff. So that's why and that's why it takes effort, and that's going to take your effort. So your state, you're looking for the state office for higher education. Every state has a scholarship section there, grants and scholarships and stuff like that. That's the first list you get, because that's what you're going to be most eligible to apply for. And you won't compete with people all over the country and things like that. So that's very important, I think, to know about. Also, I don't know if what we have, studying this, I think there is a great opportunity. It may not be for a 17-year-old, maybe not. I don't know why not, but I'm thinking. I don't know if you can see this graph. Okay, this is a graph of countries and how much, sort of like an average middle-income person pays for college, how much of their income. So you see Denmark, 2%. See Norway, 2%. Sweden, 3%. France, 3%. Germany, 4%. Look at USA, 52%. We're way down the goddamn scale on that. And that's what healthcare is, same thing. And I don't know if we have better, the schools are that better, that you can pay 2% versus 50%. And now listen to this. This is even more important. Okay, particularly in Europe. Okay, Europe there's a database that you could go to. Oh, Nancy, what'd you do with that database? It's called studyineurope.eu. Studyineurope.eu. They have like 3,000, 30,000, they have tons of thousands of programs in all the European countries. I guess the UK is not in that anymore, but the database probably still is, and they're there. And they're actually one of the more expensive ones. You go to Germany for free. Number one, you don't even have to be a citizen of the United Kingdom, of the European Union or any country over there. You could be a U.S. citizen and go to school in Germany for free. You could be from anywhere, okay? But I don't speak German. Doesn't matter. There's 30,000 programs all in English. See, we're so spoiled in this country. English is the language of the world. everybody wants to know English. So we're ahead of the curve. We're born that way. You don't have to suffer. So now you can go to France and go to the best university France has to offer right down in Paris called the Sorbonne. And as a guy, when I was a 22-year-old mailman, that sounded great over all these French women, you know. And it's like $600 a semester. That's it. So and so it costs you to live, yes. But I have data, that shows, I mean, it's still a fraction. I mean, if you pay $10,000, that's outrageous. That's to live and everything. To go to most of these schools over in Europe. England is a little more expensive, but all the other ones, man, can you imagine going to Spain or Barcelona? And so the most it's going to cost you, everything to live there, 10 grand. Here you're paying 40, 50 grand is nothing, right? That's a year. So that, I think, is an incredible bargain that you want to know about. These are world-class universities. And I think as our world gets smaller, I mean, listen, just think of the last 10 years, how many new countries we didn't even know were available around that we know more about, that the world is getting smaller. So it's not, I think that even gives you cachet in getting a good job, a better job, if you're worried about those kinds of things, because now you're international trained, and that you're not just from the University of Pittsburgh or something like that. No, you went to the Sorbonne. You must be smarter because I can't spell it, right? And that kind of thing. So that's something to think about. It's not for everybody. And also for credentials, there's a neat thing I found that you could get, like on your resume, like what universities did you go to and study at? You can get Harvard there for nothing. Okay, you can take a course, an online course at Harvard. Okay, their Harvard is online learning. If you just put Harvard online learning, you do that. You sign up. Like I was taking the introduction to computer science course, so I could put on my resume when I finish it. And I think if I could get a certificate, it costs maybe $50, but I don't have to get a certificate. But I could take the course online and say I took the course, but I get a certificate for $50 and put it on my resume, right? So you really want to, pad a resume like that. There's ways to do that, that are available, and so there's always more than one way, to do things. Oh, I know what I wanted to tell before I go. There are some people that talked about student loans, and you had trouble with student loans. Here's 3 offices that will help you fight for any kind of problems with you having student loans. Okay. The first one is the Student Loan Ombudsman. This is at the Department of Education. If you feel screwed or you have trouble with the student loans, that's where you go, okay? And to learn. You want to learn everything about it. May or may not be helped. You don't know that yet. You don't know until you get all the facts. So you don't want to go to your student loan processor to know all the facts because that's biased. You want to go to independent people to get out the facts before you go to them. And this is how you find out. So you have the Student Loan Ombudsman at the Department of Education. Now you have the Consumer Finance Office. That's the new one that's set up, consumerfinance.gov. And they have a wonderful thing on their website, tells you about all options for student loans and paying back and things like that. They just passed, I think, like a $300 million for the people who had thought they didn't have to pay back the student loans, and they changed their mind. They say, now you have to pay them back. So they just passed legislation for a couple $100 million to solve that problem. So any kind of problems you have in paying it, they know those answers too. And if you have trouble with anybody with your student loans, the school or your process, a lot of schools are doing that because they make money out of that. So you contact them. They will fight for you for nothing. Not only will they fight for you for nothing, anybody with student loans or any organization is more afraid of the government than any lawyer you could hire, because a government could put them out of business. They won't give them any more money, and they're over. Your lawyer could just sue them and get what you deserve or whatever. Yeah, these people put them out of business. So this way, having them investigate it is more powerful than any lawyer you could contact. Now the last one here, this is the Capitol Hill switchboard. Keep this in mind. Call them up tomorrow morning. What is today? Yeah, I guess I forget what today is. Sunday. So tomorrow, right. Find your congressman and senator. Tell them you're looking for college money. Most every congressman and senator has a pre-packaged report on college money, on internships, and for getting jobs with the government. Now, all of those are important. And also, if you want to go to the academies, you know, Army, Navy, Air Force, and that's the other boat people. Coast Guard and one other boat, I forget what it's called. So they help you. And see, their staff, see, you're an elected official, and you have elected officials locally. So, like, if you feel you get screwed over by that state scholarship, you know, that you should have got it or not, and they don't give it to you or something, you call your elected official, because they're the only ones in the government really who have a motive to help you. Everybody else that you go to get government money and everything, they're just following the law and doing what they have to, you know. So it depends on, that's why it really depends on how nice you are to them. So that's what gets you, because they get paid the same thing if they're mean as hell to you, or if they find stuff that you never even asked for and get it to you because you're such a nice guy, you know. So that's why you have to use your personality, and it's more phone. Then the more you can use the phone nowadays, the better. It's harder to flunk. If you're a student, you know that if you're a stupid student like I was, I'd go talk to the teachers after class, even though I was flunking, so they could, you know, hey, you know, once you get to know somebody more, you know, they're not as dumb. And they could give me the benefit of the doubt and kick me over the goal line easier than if they didn't know me. When I was a professor, I'd do that. For people I didn't know, it's always, oh, flunk that son of a bitch. I don't care. He is so stupid. Yeah. But the ones I know that came in, show me pictures of their dog and their mother and stuff like that. Man, it was hard to flunk them. The same way with getting money and help to do what you want in life, particularly when these nonprofits and government offices rule, because they get paid no matter how much they help you or not. So that's important. Now, by the way, when we talked about state, go there quickly to your state and your state representative. Most states have special scholarship money for people in their district, okay? So you want to get there early, okay? Earlier the better. How do you find out who your state representative is? Your library. Or actually, I use a thing, the League of Women Voters has a great website. League of Women Voters, if you Google League of Women Voters and find my elected official, you'll find this website. You put in your zip code and you'll find all your elected officials. Yeah. But you call your state, you have a state congressman, a representative, and state senators. Both of them have money to just indiscriminately give away. It doesn't matter how smart, dumb, or whatever you are, just because you're people in there. And they pass that kind of legislation themselves, so more people will vote for them. See, that's why they have the motive to help you. Because if they help you get money, you'll vote for that son of a bitch no matter what they do. You got me 10 grand for college, man. I don't care. He has 15 girlfriends. That doesn't matter to you because you got your 10 grand and going to finish college. Yeah. And that's why these people get reelected all the time. Unfortunately, that's the system. It's not right, but it's learning the system and how to use it. Now, the other place I think people forget about is that training money. Every state has a ton of training money. Yeah, and this is training money. You can use it. It depends on some states. See, that's the other thing. It's different in every state. That's why a lot of the work I do now is by state. I do research that I show you just the stuff in your state because that's going to help you. You know, California is different than Maryland. Yeah, so that's why. So for education and training, you know, and also if you haven't thought about going to college yet, they have some wonderful programs. You can get paid to make more money, you know, in the next 4 years by making money every year instead of costing you money. And when you graduate, you know, start at right out of, a couple of years of training, making 50 grand a year or more, and eventually go up to 90 or 100. These are the kind of jobs that are available, and people are all going to four-year colleges, which may not be for everybody, so it's just, you could find out, you want to go, here's the name that you want to look for, Career One Stop for your state. So if you Google Career One Stop for your state, then you'll find a local office, make an appointment, go down, say, hey, what are my options in training? Because they also have money, like if you need to finish college, you lost your job and want to go back to college, there's money there for that. Or just to take a 2-year program in something to get a skill, like a healthcare skill or an IT skill. You can make 50 grand after a year or two of training. Sometimes only 6 months. I mean, like in cybersecurity, man, in this area, a 6 months training course gets you a job, 40, 50 grand. And that's with just a high school diploma. So there's those kinds of things that are available. We have all kinds of, get paid to train, and also living money and things like that. I mean, don't forget every state, every city and everything has all kind of extra money to live on while you're training and things like that. But it's knowing about them. We get, tied up in stuff that we may or may not need. So maybe you just want to be a yoga therapist. Well, you could get 8 grand to do that from the state. Maybe that's it. Or you want to be a drone pilot. That's why I say you get that. See, what they're doing too is giving companies who want to apply, who are looking for trained employees, give money, particularly to the community colleges in the area, to train people. So you go free, because when you graduate, they want to hire you. So you get that paid for and a good job. So that's why, if you're going to start anywhere, the best deal in town, I think, is your community college. Make sure you know if that's an option, even to get in, like here where I live in Maryland, it's easier to get in the University of Maryland, which is a pretty prestigious school, if you went to the community college. So you could be, like me in high school, just barely got through, go to the community college because they have to accept you, work your butt off, so you get a decent grade point average and get into the University of Maryland. You couldn't have gotten in there if you tried as a freshman. But if you go to the community college and then apply, then you could get in there. Also, other programs they have, like they give your employer, you're looking for a job, they give your employer money to train you if you don't know what to do. I see where, boy, I babble along. I was wondering, oh, am I ever going to be able to talk this long? I just can't stop. I'm halfway through. Oh, by the way, vets. This is something that you should know. If you're a veteran, you have a family, somebody in the family, your parents are veterans, something like that. Okay, there's a lot of special programs for vets nowadays. My tongue is screwed. And the best place to find out, every county has a county veterans service office. So you live in Montgomery County, you're looking for Montgomery County Veterans Service Office. I've seen reports by the General Accounting Offices, the bean counters in Washington, D.C. People who use that service, particularly veterans and their families, get 50% more money than anybody else. See, that's their job. They do it all the time, and they do it for free. So that's why don't go on the internet looking for stuff for free to get, because you're going to wind up some sweet-talking guy like me, maybe, who will try to get money off you. And you don't have to pay for it. There's so many. Make sure you use the free stuff first. And another thing, a lot of the work, and I think we're going to talk about what I do, is show you not only money that pays for college, it's other funds to live on and other funds to make extra money. Like you could be, at school and see, if you're not aware of the internet economy and the gig economy, it's easier to pick up another $50 or there's a gig shift. This is one website now. It's all platforms. They call this platforms. It's not like in the old days when I was in college, you had to get a part-time job. Well, the guy wanted me there every day from 9 to whenever it was. And as a kid, I didn't want that. Every week, I just needed beer money for the weekend. That's easy to get now because you go to a shift gig and they need people like just tonight. They need 10 people tonight per party to dress up and, serve hors d'oeuvres or whatever the hell they do. It's so easy. Or my son, who was an IT guy, and when he needs extra money because he works for a lot of nonprofits, he gets in the car. Like today, he's out. Now he'll make $100 or so just driving around delivering meals just for a day. He may not do it for the next month or whatever. And that's it. So I talked to, read a story, did talk to the guy. I should have gotten a hold. This kid took his bunk in the university, he had 2 bunks in his room, and he put it on Airbnb and made money off the other bed in his dorm room. There's just new ways to make income. You can go online, you were good at math in high school. Well, you would tutor kids online if you have an extra hour or 2 or whatever, and make some pocket money, stuff like that. See? And that's the kind of thing that's exciting, I think, about people need extra money or whatever. But I think I covered most of the highlights of the stuff that I talked about. Thanks for putting up with me. I hope you were able to get those numbers and names that I gave earlier. So I'm going to give it back to you, Johnny.
Here's Johnny. We got some questions for you. And ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't get all of those website addresses and phone numbers, we're going to send you the replay of this webinar. Probably tomorrow. It'll go out in an email. If not tomorrow, by the following day. But in the meantime, you'll have access to this information. So let me field some questions for Matthew, and then we're going to go through the offer. So are there any methods and means in which a single dad with kids can get money?
Well, there may or may not be. I wouldn't worry about it so much. I would just go after money because you're also eligible for every other program. That's the problem with individuals. What I would look for is a father's group and look for organizations. When you Google this, make sure it's a .org, because they help you for free. That's what they're going to do. If you just do scholarships for men, no. You're looking for nonprofit organizations who worry about, single dads. And there are groups. I've seen them out there. I've been to help people start groups like that. So that's what you want to do, is find the nonprofit who are trying to help single dads. They need just as much help as moms. But then that's just a tip of the iceberg, even if there are programs. Like even for single moms, that's just a tip of the iceberg. The other stuff is so huge that, you want to do both.
Well, that's great advice. And creative. I would not have thought of that. And frankly, I'm doing college planning for the past 24 seasons. 23 years, 24 college seasons. And not a thought to go to a local father support group. I think that's a great idea. Jonathan wants to know if any of these programs would cover housing for students.
Well, there's lots of housing programs. There's also, every local county has emergency money. So if you're in college or doing anything in the county and all of us, oh shit, I need $500, they're going to throw me out, or whatever, $700, usually under $1,000. There's what they call emergency money they get from HUD to solve problems like that. And it usually then goes to nonprofit organizations, that then give out the money. So that's why there's not an easy place, one place to go. But the place to start, there's really 2 places. Your county, county government, and also this 211.org. This is it's sort of like Google, but everything is free. If you go to 211.org and look for like emergency money, you need to get your dental stuff done or whatever. What that is, a database, it's a national database, but it's ever, when you go there, you put in your zip code and you get your city or whatever. And they collect all the nonprofits and government programs that help people. So you need your sidewalk shoveled, and you don't have money to get it done, and maybe you have a disability. You go to 211, probably find somebody. Your utility bill is late, and you got to pay that, or whatever, or you need a drug rehab money or something. All these nonprofits are usually in there. Again, it's not guaranteed, and it's not going to be everything. That's not the only place you do. When you do something like that, you still have to go. You go to the library, you go to elected officials, you keep digging, man. The only way to get the answer is to keep at it.